Hi, I'm the Amazing Atheist. What's up? How are you doing? Oh, I am fine. Thank you for asking. So let's talk about Briahna Joy Gray. Let's read from her Wikipedia directly so that I don't have to try to summarize from my own memory, because we all know that that's basically empty. Briahna Joy Gray, born August 15th, 1985, is an American political commentator, lawyer, and political consultant who served as the National Press Secretary for the Bernie Sanders 2020 presidential campaign. Prior to joining the campaign, Gray was a contributing editor for Current Affairs, as well as a senior politics editor for The Intercept. So, quite accomplished. Quite an accomplished person. Very successful. No doubt about it. A lot of people care what Briahna Joy Gray has to say, and I think that that's completely valid because she's said some interesting things, and I follow her Twitter myself. But there was an incident recently that I thought was a little unusual, so let's first take a look at a meme. I like memes. Actually, I hate memes personally, but whatever. This is a left-wing meme, as you can tell by the gigantic wall of text. So, you see that we have a depiction here of the trolley experiment, and standing at the lever is Briahna Joy Gray, and standing next to her, urging her to pull the fucking lever is Noam Chomsky. So, for a little bit of background, Briahna Joy Gray hosts a podcast called the Bad Faith Podcast, or something along those lines. And on a particular episode of that podcast, she had a discussion with Noam Chomsky about the very contentious, thorny subject on the left of electoralism and its efficacy. Now, Noam Chomsky took the stance of, yeah, both parties suck, but, Trump represents a crypto-fascist sort of, turn for the Republican Party. Well, not really a turn, just a little bit more mask off, really, if we're honest. Whereas Joe Biden is just a neoliberal centrist piece of garbage. So we're better off voting for him than we are voting for Trump. Now, this argument played itself out all over the left. There was the Bernie or Bust people versus the harm reduction vote people, and all this stuff. And, I personally am on a podcast, Deep Fat Fried, where my co-host and friend, Paul Zigo, took more of the Briahna Joy Gray side of this argument, and I took more of the Noam Chomsky side of this argument, and oftentimes it got very heated in our discussions. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that, if you're going to adopt a political viewpoint, I think you should argue it passionately, forcefully, and with as much strength and vigor as you possibly can. And if you're unable to do that, then I think at some point you might want to ask yourself, is this really my position? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So maybe you find yourself agreeing with the Briahna Joy Gray side of the argument, which is these parties are just both completely corrupt. I don't want to validate this process. I don't want to, I don't want to debase myself by participating in this mockery of a system. The Democratic Party, it's taken the support of black people like me for granted for far too long. It's not willing to do anything for us, so we should stop supporting it until it comes to the table in a meaningful way. So maybe you agree with that sort of kind of position or something more along those lines. Or maybe you agree more with the Noam Chomsky position. It's like, hey, we really only have two choices here. So, let's vote for the lesser of two evils, basically. This is an argument as old as politics itself, at least as old as American style representative democracy with the republic system, all that stuff. We've been having this lesser of two evil argument, amongst each other from, even people on the right have this argument with each other. There's always this idea of is it really worth participating in this sham of a system to any extent? And some people say, well, maybe this party is a little bit better than this other party. And some people say, the whole system's a sham, and anyone who even participates is an idiot, and you're just validating the system, or whatever the hell the argument may be. There's lots of different levels of nuance and positions, so I don't want to put something out there that's going to make someone feel like that's not a proper representation of what we believe. So what I'm about to say, I think I can say to everybody, regardless of where you fall on this argument, regardless of whether you fall more on the harm reduction, Noam Chomsky side, or more on the two parties are the same and the Democrats are, they're not doing anything for us side. Whichever side of that you fall on, I think you should probably be able to agree with what I'm about to talk about in terms of Briahna Joy Gray. So anyway, this meme says, the giant wall of text here, that you've probably read it yourself at this point, but I'll go ahead and read it for those who might not have. Briahna Joy Gray, in this trolley experiment, she has the trolley is currently scheduled to run over 4 people. She has the ability to pull the lever and only let the trolley kill 1 person. So obviously the bottom track where there are 5 people tied up, I think I said 4 earlier, I meant 5. The bottom track where there are 5 people tied up is obviously supposed to represent like the Trump presidency, whereas the top track with 1 person tied up is obviously supposed to represent the Biden presidency. Now, I happen to think that this would be closer to, 4 on the top track and 5 on the bottom track. But whatever, the point remains. So she is saying, as a black American whose family has been killed by trolleys, how do I know that by pulling the lever, we aren't all basically ensuring more years of trolleys killing, or even bigger trolleys that would kill more people? I don't think we can expect marginalized groups to pull the lever. Also, this isn't just a choice between saving 1 or 5 lives. It's whether or not I may risk a hand injury by pulling the lever. How do I know that my personal sacrifice will actually save people in the long run? So, and then, of course, Chomsky's response is, please pull the fucking lever, because you can say all these words, but at the end of the day, you're still looking down a very simple case of fucking arithmetic here. There's 5 people on one track, there's 1 person on the other. This should be an easy decision. Now, maybe you agree with the message of this meme, maybe you don't. Maybe you think this meme does not present things fairly, or maybe you think this meme presents things completely fairly. Whatever your opinion might be, I'm asking you to set that aside, put it in your back pocket. Put it in your back pocket. Just say, hey, okay, we can have that argument at some point in the future, but for now, back pocket. Throw it away. Throw it out of your mind, because it's not going to be relevant here. I know it's really hard, because I know a lot of people are really passionate about this argument, and that makes sense. That makes sense. It's a good argument to have, and I look forward to having it every 4 years for the rest of my life. But for the moment, let's set it aside, okay? So, little background. The guy who posted this meme is an account called Thoracy, okay? Now, you might know Thoracy better as Coping MAGA, because this is the far more popular account that he runs. 126.8K followers. It basically just highlights examples of crazy Trump supporters unable to accept that Trump has lost and going into, massive fits of denial or histrionic fits of rage about this, the Biden winning the election, basically. So, that's what we're dealing with there. Okay, so let's go back here. So here's the trolley experiment meme he posted. So here it is on his account, posted it December 3rd, 2020. Okay. So on, today, 13 hours ago, well, I guess yesterday would be December 6th. He posted. She got wind of this meme, and got upset by its contents, and said, "Some of you are both racist and not very bright, and it shows." You probably see that I responded here. Sarcastically, I said, it was so racist how they criticize your political stances. Anytime a black person is criticized, it is racism. Fact. Okay, so spoilers, I guess. I don't find this tweet to be even remotely racist. I mean, this meme that Thoracy posted How the fuck is it racist, you guys? Like, what about that meme was even a little bit racist? I don't know. I mean, I'm fucking genuinely at a loss. Other than the fact that it mentions race, because she mentioned race in her argument with Noam Chomsky, other than the fact that it references statements that she made, I don't see how it's, I mean, like, there was nothing like, hey, I'm black, so I'm too stupid to pull the lever. Or there was like nothing like that. There was no sort of like weird racial text, subtext, parrot. There was nothing. So she's an account with 333,000 plus followers who is basically signaling to all of them, hey, this other fucking guy on the left here that runs a very popular left-wing account, he's racist because he disagrees with me on the efficacy of electoralism. Like, what? Huh? Why? Okay, and then she saw my tweet responding to her, and she says at that point, I am famous for rejecting facile identity politics arguments. It's why I'm known. I don't think that's why you're known, but maybe it is. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not super familiar, I'll be honest. And then she says, but this person is accusing me of weaponizing my identity because I pointed out that many black voters have legitimate criticisms of the Democratic Party and that our votes are taken for granted. Okay, if you had said, as black voters, we need to hold the Democrat Party to account, I would have said, okay, sure, fine, cool, yeah, I don't have any problem with that. It's not even any of my business because I'm not a fucking black voter. If you said the Democrat Party takes black voters for granted, I said, yeah, that's pretty much true. So let's be clear here. I never said that you were weaponizing your identity because you have criticisms of the Democrat Party. I have criticisms of the Democrat Party. This would be as ridiculous as, me as a bisexual dude. Like, I make a political argument that you disagree with, and then you rebut me, and then I say, what is this biphobic, shit that I'm getting from Briahna Joy Gray? How dare she attack a member of the LGBTQIA plus community? She's obviously no ally of ours. Harumph. Like, it's fucking silly. So then I proceed to say, I'm accusing you of weaponizing your identity because when someone challenges your take on the efficacy of electoralism rather than engage with the substance of their argument, you label them racist and dismiss them. Which I think is pretty fair. So yeah, just in case it's not clear, the argument here is not that Briahna Joy Gray is somehow not allowed to make her criticisms. The argument here is not that Briahna Joy Gray is, that I'm not even saying her criticisms are invalid. I'm not even attacking her stance on this because personally, I'm done with the whole electoralism argument for right now. Like, we can have it again, maybe when the midterms come up, or maybe in 4 years when we're trying to decide who next to be president. But right now, I'm over it because I've had it. I've had it a bunch of times. So I'm not really interested in that. What I'm interested in is that someone as prominent as Briahna Joy Gray, when criticized by another prominent but not nearly as prominent person on the left, her immediate reaction is, well, this person's racist for criticizing me. And the amount of people that have her back on that is pretty fucking silly. Like, there's a ton of people out, like, for me saying what I said to her just now, people are saying, like, oh, that's racist. That's racist. How dare you criticize her? That's racist. I even had a guy come to me and say, it's not up for you as a white person to tell us as black people what is and isn't racist. You can ask questions about it, but you can't tell us what, if a black person says something's racist, that's up to them to determine. Well, maybe maybe For their own personal standard, yeah, you are the master of your own perception, of course, so you can decide what is and isn't racist to you. But to say that I have to go along with it just because the color of your skin, nope. Because if we accept that standard, then literally any black person can point at any innocuous thing and be like, oh, you sneezed, that's racist. And I just say, well, they're black, so we have to accept that sneezing's racist now, everybody. Don't sneeze. I know that's hyperbolic and ridiculous, okay? It is a ridiculous example, but like that's to highlight the ridiculousness of the standard that's being proposed there. So yeah, Briahna Joy Gray, I like her Twitter. I like her takes on stuff a lot of the time. Thought this particular take was not only bad, but horrendous. And so, yeah, fuck that. I'm going to call it to account. And that's pretty much it. What do you think? Let me know.